Be different.
What's up, shit sippers? Code told me to do it. Hello, everybody, except for K Migs. Welcome to week 8 recording with Codes. I'm not good at communicating, so Rick didn't get the memo that he was supposed to be here at 7 p.m. today. So partially my fault. Partially Rick doesn't check Discord, so I don't blame him, but I check it every day, so I'm used to it. So my bad, Rick. Hopefully we'll have you next week. Next week we're doing. I'll talk to you about this offline as well, Rick. But next week we're doing our way too early mock draft. Maybe we'll just have you join for that instead. Instead, this week it's just me and Codes, which is good because we're just doing a mid-season check-in. So at the beginning of the year, we talked about where the teams were ranked and who we thought was where, and we all voted and all that stuff. So now we're doing a check-in as we're halfway through the year based off of what we ranked everybody as to where we are now, just to kind of see if there's any big movement one way or another way. And looking at it here on this screen, there is a lot wrong, so that'll be fun to look at and do together. Thank you. All right, let's look at last week, though, before we get too excited. Webster Tigers fall to the implications by 213 to 127. Mahomes with 45 points. Gibbs with a breakout game for the inaugurals, 142 to 105. Gibbs with 27, his season high. Brownout and the Buffalo Princesses comes down to the wire with Jalen Hurts leading the Buffalo Princesses over. I want to talk about what you told me before we started, how close it was. We'll come back to it. Lamar doing his thing, getting the Kung Fu Pandas over 200 points over Dan Flashes. Win Like Flynn picks up the win, their first one. Round of applause for Win Like Flynn. Golf clap. For Win Like Flynn picking up their first 2 wins because they even beat the median over Rut Row Raggy. And the Liquid Haters taking down the Deli. So you said you did the math on the Hawkinson. So talk me through that again, just because that's insane.
Yeah, so the Monday night game, Hawkinson went out with an injury, then he came back, and they had that one final drive. And I think they had one drive, and then the Niners got it back, then they lost the interception, there was a kneel down. But on that final drive, Hawkinson needed a catch for 14 yards, and he would have won, because it would have put him over the 100-yard bonus, which would have given him 3 points. So the one catch is 140.34. The yardage is 1.4, which is, so he's at 141.
He's at 12 yards, but yeah.
Yeah, he's at like 141.7, and then the +3 would put him at like 144.70, so he would have beaten me.
Yeah.
So I was like,
literally came down
to
that. Yeah. Literally came down to one Hawkinson catch there. Other surviving other games, all of these I think have something to take away from them. The implications put up huge numbers yet again. The inaugurals with a solid win. Jahmyr Gibbs breaking out, which is what Kemba needed. The Liquidators beating the Deli. Arguably one of the worst teams beating arguably one of the best teams is insane. Win Like Flynn, their first win. Kung Fu Pandas showing they're there to hang with a 200-point bomb themselves. Lots to take away, I think, from all of these games. And let's look at what that did to the standings. So not much movement in the standings and not much movement in the playoff picture. In fact, none at all in the standings. Everybody stayed in the exact same place, but some difference in terms of the scores. The Smith division has the implications still at the top, 14-0. Ryan Leaf 12-2. Jamarcus Russell 9-5 for the Deli. So they stay. All 3 teams stay in first place. But where it gets funky is the Diamond Dogs at 9-5 have taken over 4th place. Brown out at 8-6 takes 5th place. And then the Jamarcus Russell division, it turns into then most points 4, which is held by Dan's Flashes right now. But our standings have stayed in the same order, just different points 4. And I don't have a good playoff picture scene. Pretend this makes sense in terms of what we look like. Code's split in 2 different places. Sorry. Yeah. This is what it looks like if the season ended today. So again, a lot of similarities. But we have the Diamond Dogs, Justin's Deli, and Brownout taking the 3rd, 4th, and 5th seed. And then the 6th seed is Dan Flashes based off points 4. So again, remember, seed number 1 and 2 are the winners of their divisions with the best record. Seed 3 is the other division winner. And then everybody's grouped, and then it's 4 and 5 are the next best records. Tiebreakers head-to-head record, then points 4. And number 6 is the most points 4 out of the remaining 7 teams. And so even though Dan Flashes and the inaugurals have a tie in their record, it ends up being Dan Flashes takes the win here simply because they have the most points 4, which puts Rut Row Raggy out of the playoffs into the extra pick bracket. It puts the inaugurals out of the playoffs into the extra pick bracket as well. The Webster Tigers, by the hair on their chinny chin chinner in the toilet bowl bracket. The Seawards, Win Like Flynn, Liquidators stay where they were. This is what it looks like. It almost feels like, I think I said this last time, maybe I didn't, so if I didn't, I'll say it now. It almost feels like every single time we look at this, I'm like, yeah, I could see it ending this way. And this is just another iteration of that where, yeah, I can see it ending this way. How do you feel? Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah.
Or do you think there's major differences to come still?
There are slight locks. I mean, it's like the Liquidators, Win Like Flynn, and Seawards would need a massive second half of the season to even reach the extra pick, which is, I mean, it's in the realm of possibility because you never know what's going to happen. And I think next week is the Webster Tigers and the inaugurals, and that could be a fun one because there was some trash talk, I think, earlier.
A lot. Wait till I fucking read it out loud to you.
Yeah, so no, I think that this is kind of it's shaping out the way it is, but I mean, still, yeah, like I could see changes.
Yeah, it's the only thing that I know for sure, in my humble opinion, Kangsu Pandas and Implications stay where they are. Seawards, Win Like Flynn, the Liquidators stay where they are. Those 7 in the middle, no fucking clue where you end up. I think the Deli's got it secured. That being said, you know, at the wins and the standings that we see currently, Raggy Tigers can win, inaugurals can win, Dan Flashes can win. So do those division games come back and wipe the Deli off the face of the earth in the end? I don't know. Yeah. I think that, again, when I look at the playoff picture, with the way that it is set right now, the only thing I know for sure is the Kangsu Pandas and Implications will stay at the bye week. Win Like Flynn, Liquidators, Seaward stay in the toilet bowl. The other 7 could go anywhere, I think. I'm pretty sure the Deli stays where they're at. I would argue Dan Flashes stays where they're at and Brownout stays where they're at. I think it's a toss-up between you and the inaugural. I don't know, but I think it's going to stay very similar to this.
Yeah, I mean, Dan's got, like, what, 1,000 points for? Like, his points is comfortably in the position where he would really have to, like, suck the next several weeks to lose that 6th seed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he would. It
would not only lose, but like he would. Yeah, like as long as he's putting up points.
Yeah.
Like he could lose his games and still get in as a 6th seed because of the points for. So.
Yep. And currently he's sitting at 1,035, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5th place in the league. First place in the league is yours truly, 1323. Second closest is 200 points away with the Kangsu Pandas at 1131. Then Brownout right behind at 1126. Justin's Deli 1075. Then Dan Flash is at 1035.
Makes sense.
So even with losses in record, he still gets in. I like that rule set of ours that we've got there. So right now, in case it comes down to it, you and Cam Hoon very close in points for 8 points away from each other. So that 6 seed could get spicy. And as we know, it's as you just get in, it's any given Sunday.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the upcoming week. Last week we were 1-3. There were 2 people. Oh god, that's the wrong thing. Let's talk about the upcoming week. The right thing. There were 2 that didn't. That were ties. So that's why we were 1-3 as a team last week. 25%, 58% all time. And we've got some interesting ones again this week. Game of the week. Win Like Flynn was picked to win 6-0. By the way, I'm pulling up the numbers here to make sure I got it right. But pretty sure it was 6-0 for Win Like Flynn. When we looked at the next game on the list, which I totally have together, someone just voted, like within the last 10 minutes, and talk shit. So I don't know who it was, but so Win Like Flynn takes that one 7-0 now. Now that there is another voter for the inaugurals against the Webster Tigers, it was 50-50, so we'll keep it at 50-50. Okay. Yeah. That voter did vote for the inaugurals to win at the last second, though. For Justin's Deli against Brownout, it is a 6-1 in favor of Brownout taking down the Deli. The 7th person voted for Brownout as well. The Implications in Dan Flashes was another tie. Here's the one game I thought I was going to be able to get some votes my way just because Dan and I are so hated on. But it was a 50-50, so neither of us won. But at the last second, that mystery voter voted for the Implications to win. Kangsu Pandas against the Buffalo Princesses, 6-1 in favor of the Kangsu Pandas. The Liquidators and Robo Reggie were close as well. With one. Go ahead.
I got a clean sweep of votes against me last week, so.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Someone pulling for me now. Wait a minute. If everybody voted against me last week, does that mean I voted against myself?
Yeah, I guess
that does not sound. No, it doesn't sound right.
Or you didn't do it. And Liquidators Raggy was also a tie at 3-3. So the last person came in and voted for Raggy to win here at the last second. The trash talk this week, we got some good ones. Dan's coming for that booty is the first one. I'm not going to read the entirety of this one because you guys will probably recognize this. But dear Morgan, what the fuck did you just say? You fucking about me, you little bitch. I have you know I graduated top of my class of the Navy SEALs and I've involved in numerous secret raids in Al Qaeda and I have over 300 confirmed kills. I'm training guerrilla warfare and I'm the top sniper in the entire U.S. Armed Forces. You have nothing to me but another target. I will wipe you the fuck out with the precision, the likes of which has never been seen before on this earth. Eat my fucking words. You think you can get away with saying that's just me over the internet? Think again, fucker. As you speak, I'm contracting my secret network of spies across the USA and your IP is being traced right now, so you better prepare for the storm, maggot. The storm that we did with the... Okay, you get it. It's the copy pasta from Twitch. I thought I was going to get there, then I just didn't. It's the whole thing, by the way.
Like,
so
what was going on there?
Yeah, so that's Cam Hood getting into it. In addition... take off the top hat inaugurals. Unless you're Abraham Lincoln or top of your division, it just looks like you're trying to compensate for your lack of height. Signed from the Webster Tigers.
Wow.
So lots of shade between those two. Can we talk about Morgan? Has
Yeah.
anybody done a wellness check to make sure that he's okay? The amount of shade this man has been throwing, and throwing accurately and throwing well, by the way. Sometimes people just like to talk shit. He has been firing on all cylinders, and it's been pretty good. In addition, the last piece of trash talk that we have is Game of the Week, more like Lame of the Week, am I right? But it felt fitting. I like all you haters, I like the C words versus Win Lake Flynn for the Game of the Week. That's a good one, right? That's not bad.
I mean, the only other one you could have done is the Pandas and Princesses.
Pandas and Princesses could have been good. Implications, Dan Flashes could have been good. Justin's Deli versus Brownout could have been good. Any of them could have gone up there, really. Implications, inaugurals against Webster Tigers, two teams in the middle pushing for that spot. Liquidators, Raggy, two teams trying to, Liquidators showing some life. Can they take down another team that they shouldn't win against? So it's interesting, but that's where we ended.
It's a good week for matchups,
Yeah.
Like the narrative on each of the matchups is cool.
Yeah, it gets fun. It's always like this, it seems like. Each week I'm like, oh my God, these are some great games, and so we'll have some more. Don't mind that there aren't any players there. I just realized that now. Whoops. So really this week is just going to be a short one, hopefully. We're just going to talk about where we are now versus where we ranked ourselves at the beginning of the season. So if you remember, we sent out that preseason poll and asked each team to fill it out, and 9 of you did it. Responding on who you thought was where, and so we got that screenshot and we've got it back up on your screen now. So this is where each team was placed after the voting. On the top of the league was Brownout at an average vote of second place. The implications next at 2.2. Oh boy, 2.22. The inaugurals in third, and then a drop to the Kung Fu Pandas and Justin's Deli. Another drop to Dan Flashes and Win Lake Flynn. I'm not laughing. And then another drop to the Diamond Dogs and Webster Tigers. And then our final drop really to Raggy, Rick Duncan, and the Liquidators. And let's do this. Can I...
Put them side by side? Is that what
I wonder if I can do that impromptu. Hell yeah, brother. All right, so here's where we're at. We don't need to see my face, do we? It's not that big of a deal. Let's do this. I'll go up here. Put that there. Let's move this here. Let's move that.
We can make this work, yeah.
Yeah, this will work. There we go. This looks so good.
Don't move.
Don't move. We had our plan together. So this is where we are currently versus where we were voted to be at the beginning of the season. I feel like we do this every week, but let's talk about it. The biggest thing that stands out to me, it's got to be Brownout, right? I mean, they've had some good weeks and they've recovered. They're 8-6. They're in the playoffs right now. They're in fifth place overall. Third most points from what I remember. But they were voted number 1, and here they are, middle of the pack almost. Do you blame that on Eckler and Saquon being hurt? Do you blame that on the alleged division of death? Do you blame that on poor management choices? But I mean, what do you think that comes from? That to have gone from first to fifth on this thing, that's a huge swing.
Yeah, I mean, I think like part of it is, I know that Morgan said at one point in time he doesn't really have any elite quarterbacks, and like we're seeing it. But I mean, the injuries, you can try to plan around injuries, but it's just like, that's just making sure you have depth, and we all know he had amazing depth and still has it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just like the injuries and the bye weeks and like the any given Sunday factor. Like I didn't think I was gonna go in and upset there, but it got done. So um, I think the fall off is not expected, but at the same time, I mean, we knew the Pandas had a good team. We knew the Inaugurals had a good team. We knew you had a good team. Um, so it's not like, I guess I'm not like super surprised that like, oh no, he's 8-6, second in the division. Like, especially with all those injuries considering.
Right. Other ones to really highlight here, pretty much nailed the bottom four as of right now. The Liquidators coming in 12th unanimously, pretty much. Their average rating was 11th place. So, and here they are in probably 10th place based off their record. Liquidators win like Flynn will be a great game when it happens. I don't think it's happened yet, but that'll be a good one to watch too. But them being at the bottom was accurate, but looking at it now, 3-11. If with how much liquidating Chase did at the beginning, if I told you 8 weeks ago, he'd have 3 wins, would you have told me to go fuck myself, or would you have believed that?
I'd have been like, no way, because I mean, you look at the roster he's currently putting up now. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say he got lucky against the Delhi because the Delhi just had some bye weeks, but it's like he got over 100 points, and it's like you never know if guys have duds, of a week, or a guy gets injured during the game or something. I mean, he's getting it done, and he's got Raggy this week, and Raggy's been sliding, so maybe he pulls out another one. But I don't know. I guess in their situation, like with the bottom 4 teams, or maybe not even bottom 4 teams. I don't think the Tigers are a bottom 4 team. But like in that like realm, it's like, do you really want to keep winning games and potentially slipping into the extra pick of the playoffs when you're trying to get that 101? So
yeah,
I don't really know if that's going to happen, but yeah, I mean, I definitely am kind of surprised that the Liquidators pulled out 3 wins.
What about the Webster Tigers and Raggy? I mean, when we voted, they are neck and neck in the voting. They're neck and neck in reality, just a space or 2 away. Really, in reality, they're 8 and 9 right now. On this voting, we've got them at 9 and 10. What do you think has kept them close together? Because those teams are built so differently, right? Raggy's got like 10 open bench spots, no cap room. Webster Tigers have no open spots, no cap room, all the depth in the world. What do you think has them at 6 and 8? Like, why do you think that they were voted that way and it stayed that way, right? A lot of these other things, it's like, oh, they went here, they went there. Those two are very accurate to where we initially thought as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, like strength of schedule does matter to some degree, and also too, like it is lineup and it's not a best ball format, so like the Tigers will have guys on their bench that pop off, and I know he's even said this where it's like, damn, what do I do with my wide receiver room? Because it's like I plug in guy here and he duds, but the guy on my bench goes off, so then I switch it the week. It's just like, waiting on Gabe Davis to have his 30 burger, and it's like, so I don't know. I think it's just the ramifications of setting the lineup and not having like studs, like the stars and studs kind of mentality, like Alan said last week.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think that the team, like if I look at the team and the roster, I'm like looking at it and I'm like, this isn't a 6 and 8 roster. You know what I mean? So.
Our thing disappeared. It's back. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. But like, like it's not a 6 and 8 roster. Like with Raggy, you can at least see like the decline. And you could see like how it happened from the off-season draft trades and then like certain moves throughout and it just hasn't panned out for them. But the Tigers, they're more on the upswing.
What about the difference between the voting for the Inaugurals and the Diamond Dogs? I mean, right now, in reality, those 2 teams should really switch places on this chart, with the Inaugurals going from 3 to 8 and the Diamond Dogs going from 8 to 3. You're tied for 3rd place record-wise, but because of seeding, the Delhi is 3 and you're 4. Was it just recency bias? Is this a Super Bowl hangover for the Inaugurals? Like, we had them ranked top 3, no question.
Yeah.
And here they are. Was that just us being like, oh, they just won, so they've got to be in the top? Do you think? Did we not look at it enough, or?
I mean, I appreciate the flowers for my squad. I think for him, I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe it was like the off-season bias because we were all like, "Oh, he won the GM of the Year award last year," and then he honestly like killed the off-season draft.
Yes.
And nobody knew Anthony Richardson would go down. Nobody knew that I would deal Jefferson, and then Jefferson would go down. So I think it's just kind of like the way it happened, the way the season played out. So it's not like it's anything that he did. Like he didn't like make any like horrendous moves or whatever. Um, just kind of the way the season's played out, you know.
Do you expect to see a late season surge from the inaugurals, like as it gets back where Jefferson's healthy, the team is clicking? Do you think he heads into his divisional games in weeks 12, 13, 14 and starts popping off 2-0 wins?
I think it's definitely possible, and for the record, I'd love to see that happen since my team's kind of surging, and I'd like to see him knock off some of the bigger dogs in that division, and then see what happens. I do worry about the superflex spot because he only has Kirk Cousins as a quarterback right now, and I think his other guy was on bye, or maybe he only legitimately has Kirk Cousins. I don't know.
And then Richardson was supposed to come back, and then he dealt you Burrow, and now he's kind of in that hole.
Now he's gone. Yeah, so he's going to have to find a way to get some production from his superflex. I mean, he's like, if you took out all the injuries, like he's definitely got the best wide receiver room in the league by far, like in terms of like youth productivity and all that. But yeah, the other positions there's kind of some shaky ground. So at least Gibbs popped off, and now Kincaid is going to be starting his breakout hopefully because Dawson Knox is injured. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I could definitely see a surge from him.
What do you think about Dan Flashes? So Dan Flashes feels like we nailed it on the vote. My dog wants attention. Dan Flashes seems like we nailed it on the vote. Do you want to come up here? Here he comes. Oh, Lord, he's coming. Come on. No? So Dan Flashes feels like we nailed it on the vote. He wants to come up here, but he doesn't want to come up here. Feels like we nailed it on the vote. He's in sixth place. He's in sixth place in the league right now. Right on the nose in sixth place. But it feels like this was from haters and lovers of his team, right? He's never been, like, if someone said he's in sixth place, nobody's happy that he ended in sixth place here, right? Like there were people who were the dudes in 10th and there were people the dudes in third. He just ended up in sixth. It's the average. Do you think sixth place is where he stays? Do you think he's a better team than sixth?
I mean, I can see him going higher. He's still got Taylor. He's still got Henry. Rodgers could come back. I mean, Cooper Kupp had an off week last week, but it's like it's Cooper Kupp, you know what I mean? So
right.
Well, no, I mean, I feel like several episodes ago we talked about how Dan and Justin's Deli were like could flip kind of, and I think that's kind of how I see it playing out that way now. I mean, I don't know what Dan's remaining schedule looks like, but if Dan ends up like taking the division miraculously, I'm not going to be too shocked.
That's a good question. Let me take a look at what his schedule is just for the fun. When they play, by the way, Justin Stelly currently holds a tiebreaker. They will play again. It was 196 to 192 to 186. So it was, as close as it could be almost, right? So that does hold some weight to it. Dan's schedule this week, he plays the Implications. Sorry, brother. The next game, he plays against Team Chase, a.k.a. the Liquidators. Then he plays against Brownout. Then he plays against the Inaugurals. So he has some tough games ahead of him, for sure. Already played against Win Like Flynn. Already played against the C-Words. Some of these teams that are not free wins, but they're as close as you're going to get to it. And then he has to go back against his own division with his entire division. Is it leading the league in wins? Is that what Morgan, the stat that Morgan put out earlier? So his division leading the team in wins. So might have some tough sledding ahead of him. But we'll there we go. We'll see how it goes. Other teams that are worth talking about on here. I mean, every team's worth talking about. But Win Like Flynn, we had them at a very high place, and had it not been for their 2 wins this last week, they'd be winless. What was the misconception there? Were we just excited, or is this just another case of you're in that division and God bless, someone's got to be at the bottom?
I think maybe it was the division bias, because I'm just like thinking like, I mean, I don't really know how all 4 of those teams make the playoffs just because of the division and the fact you have to play everybody twice. And then we add in the median, you know, like the league median also. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of salty when I saw myself 8th. I was just like, you guys really have Win Like Flynn over me? Like, I'm sorry, but I just felt like that was misfire. Misfire. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, we see how it's playing out.
What do you think about the track that the Implications and the Pandas are on? So, Implications at second place with 2.22 is their average vote. The Pandas in 4th place with 4.55. Those are off too. I mean, you can go ahead and I know that, my voting at 2.22 is close because I'm at 1 right now, but it is without sounding as much of a douche as I can be, it is a clear first place, 200 points more than anybody else, but we were off. Kung Fu Pandas, clear 2nd place. Nobody else is close to them. Coming out of their division games 6-0, right? Like swept the division. So hard to do in any division, let alone that division. With the Pandas and the implications, the only 2 to sweep their division this year so far. How did we miss that one too, right? Because I know that my squad is built very differently than theirs, right? It's studs and fucking nobodies, whereas they have the depth and the studs at the same time. So how did we not see that sooner, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I mean, this is a long time ago, so I don't remember what I voted, but I thought that I had my top 3 were Brown Implications and the Pandas. So I had Pandas or something. But yeah, the rest, I think I guess it's like looking at the Inaugural's team and looking at, look at these rookies or look at the profiles on certain guys. And it's like, well, Pandas have always had producers, you know what I mean? And you need points to win in lineup, so I guess you need points to win period anywhere in fantasy.
Win the games. Not we're not here to win Dynasty Bikini season. We're here to win when the fucking games are happening. So
yeah, exactly.
All right, I think we touched on every single team there for just a second. Only one I don't think we talked about was Justin's Deli here in 5th place. They're in 5th place here in the rankings. They're in 1st place in their division. So instead of asking a very similar question to the ones I've asked so far, I'll kind of throw a bit of a curveball at you. They're 5th place in the rankings. They're in 1st place in their division, which technically has them as the 3rd seed. But do you think with how they've been playing and where they're at right now that 5th place is more accurate than 3rd seed to say for them? Like, would you put a Brownout over them? Would you put yourself over them? Would you put a good week of Dan Flashes over them on their inconsistent weeks? Only scoring 100 last week, dropping a game to the Liquidators. That knocks you down a peg or two mentally, right? But you're still the 3 seed. Just it's a curious question, I think.
Yeah, that was a tough loss. I mean, I know that Morgan had a good point in the chat that his team looked like, with the way the buys were this week, it looked really rough. He got some production from certain guys, but I think he got a 0 from Paris Campbell, and then it was just Bijan was just sick all of a sudden, Sunday, and
Doghouse.
Okay, I guess Doghouse or sick or had a headache, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's tough because I feel like my team's kind of surging, and I kind of built to have players fill in for bye weeks instead of just getting fucked on a bye week. So I could definitely see myself at least maybe breaking 1-1 in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see where that puts me in the standings. But as far as where the Deli goes, I think the Deli have more firepower. So I mean, if that means they end up in the 3rd seed, I'm not going to be surprised. You're not going to have Bijan just going out there and pulling the T. Higgins week. So, and then I mean, he's got Stroud. I think this week was just really rough for the Deli because of the buys. But by the time we get to week 14 in the playoffs and he has all his starters kicking, it'll be some tight games.
Yeah, for sure. And keep in mind the way that the playoffs work this year in comparison to last year is the highest seed playing gets to pick their opponent. So that will be nice if whoever the number 3 seed is has to play in week 15, whereas the other 2 teams don't, but they get to kind of choose who they want to go against. So, and then the number 1 seed will pick who they want to play in the 2nd round, and then championship's the championship after that. So it should be interesting. Let's very quickly, we'll just kind of take a look at what this looked like. Sorry, these aren't going to be as pretty, but what we ranked the division as at the beginning of the preseason. Holy crap, this looks terrible. I'm sorry. What we ranked the division at the beginning of the season. Only the Seawards and Liquidators flipped here. Otherwise, we did a pretty good job with this one. We look at the next division, the Ryan Leaf division. Again, these are all formatted terribly now that we're doing it like this. I'm sorry, guys. But Brownout, Inaugurals, Pandas, and Win Like Flynn. We'll come back to that one and talk about that one in a little more in a second, I guess.
Yeah,
Justin's Deli, Dan Flashes, Webster Tigers, Raggy. This seems like it's still going to finish this way. Raggy and the Tigers are...
Ending,
Yeah, we'll see. That there's definitely the potential for 3 and 4 to flip. definitely the potential for 1 and 2 to flip as well, so that's interesting. But really, this is the one that's interesting to me, where Kangxi Pandas were just disrespected all offseason. I felt disrespected by not being in first place, but man, we really were ragging on the Pandas early on in the season. So, and I'm ragging on them now. I won't call them the Kung Hu Pandas this episode. I'll call them Kangxi Pandas.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you just did, but no, like seriously.
No, I won't, not anymore. I mean,
when I saw this, I was just like, "Are you guys kidding me? Like, why? Like, in what world are the Pandas 3 and the inaugurals are 2? The Pandas were literally the semi-finalists last year. Like, they were the runner-up.
They were, yeah, they came in second place.
I'm just kind of like, I mean, geez, like, I don't know. It was a shocker to me.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult for Unicorn Bolt and the Pandas too when they come in second again this year. I'm sorry.
Oh, I did kind of set you up for that one. That was unintentional. I'm sorry, Pandas.
We'll see. That's an interesting philosophical question. Unicorn, when you watch this, we don't cut anything. It's interesting, you know. So let's say, no, all jokes aside, let's say it comes in second again this year. Is that, you know, that's something to be proud of, right? But that's got to suck at the same time. I don't know. It's just, I don't know how I feel about it. But then again, it's coming from the guy who came in fucking second to last place, so I guess I can only talk so much for how things happened last year.
I mean, you still you win cash. You do win the prize. Like, that's,
yeah, you're playing for free.
I was in the third place game, I think, and I lost it, so I went out with nothing. Whereas I had a chance to win my cash back last year and didn't do that. So
because I think what is it, $50 for
third
place, 100 for second place, and the rest of first.
Might have increased, right? Because it's 75 buy-in.
Yeah, I can't remember if the pot went up for this year, or if it starts next year or not. I think it's this year. I don't remember, but now it's 70. Now it's 75 Now it's 75 a year, and the percentage is basically what up to match that, where third place gets 75, second place gets 150, and first place gets the rest, which is nice. I like that it's for the most part, winner take all, but you get your money back, you double your money, and you go from there. So that does it for us this week. Week 9, we hope, is going to be with Rick. Sorry again, Rick. Next week, Code, what are we doing next week? That's how we're going to start doing it. I'm going to make you tell everybody what we're doing instead of me talking about it.
Yeah, we can do that. Next week we're doing the rookie mock draft. So yeah, Blind and I are going to have to do our studying.
Yeah, so the way too early rookie mock draft. We did it last year where we took the playoff standings and predicted, like we took the current standings and predicted the bracket. So we'll do that again. We'll do that beforehand off the air, and then we'll come in and say, okay, we think that this team ends up in first place, but really that means this team has their pick, and so this team would pick this. What did we say? We're doing one round? I think we're just going to do one round, right?
Yeah, one round only, just because we want to keep these videos below 45 minutes if possible. Yeah. And we know they've been getting long. So.
They've been getting chunky, but this is a good time. 32 minutes and 33 minutes now, so we're in a good spot here.
Yeah, I think
so.
It's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Code, for coming. Again, looking forward to hopefully Rick next week. If not, we'll try to pivot and get somebody else on. But we've got Rick, we've got K-Migs, and we've got Morgan are our next 3 guests that are coming up. We've also got, after that, we're doing some playoff predictions. Not predictions. That one, you're not even going to be with me, Code, because I'm going to go fucking full nerd. But that's just going to be how the best case and worst case scenarios of where each team ends, what needs to happen for them to get into the higher bracket, the better bracket to be in, shit like that. Got a lot planned coming up over the next few days. So looking forward to talking to you guys soon. I don't have anything fun or quippy to throw at the end, do you?
Nope, just looking forward to a clean game versus the Pandas.
You're so much nicer than I am.
Well, I mean, I guess if I do pull out the win, then it helps you, so maybe we should just 1-1 and call it even.
Quick, talk shit to K-Migs. You beat him.
Yeah, we're good. I haven't had K-Meg's number lately, haven't I? I don't know. I mean, I can't. Like, I feel like the guy keeps trying to make trades, and, like, Raggy just is sitting on digs. Doesn't want to move.
Tell me he has a small penis. Do something. Do something mean.
Burrow isn't washed. Fuck you, bro.
Oh, there you go. All right, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you guys soon.
All right.